Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this ADF Spotlight Session with the speaker Dana Singleterry. I'm delighted to have you on board. My name is Volker Linz. I'm hosting this webcast series, and it is the last webcast before the summer break. If you have any questions regarding the talk and the demonstration of Dana, post it in the chat so we can summarize it and grab it from the chat to reply to this question. We ask you for your understanding that all your lines are muted during the sessions. So I'm passing over to you, Dana.
Thank you very much. Without further ado, you know who I am. I'll just go ahead. I've got a few slides that I want to show you just to kind of give you a level set of what we're talking about today. But the majority of the session will be a demonstration of what Oracle's Developer Cloud Service is all about and how you can use it to manage the complete lifecycle or development operations, if you will, of your ADF application. So with that, let's just go ahead and get started here. So why should you be considering moving to the cloud? Well, quite clearly, the concept here is to develop applications much faster than you are doing currently, much cheaper, and to develop better quality applications. So today, if you are doing your own application lifecycle management or DevOps processes all on-premise, well, there's a lot of things that you probably had to overcome, or a lot of hurdles that you've had to overcome, and those being, costs of acquisition of hardware and software and installation of all of this and integrating this software and so forth. I could go into this in much more detail, but I'm going to make all these slides available to you, and you can look through this on your own leisure, because I really want to get to the demonstration. But I think you get the idea here. Costs from a hardware and software perspective are at the pinnacle of what you have to deal with when you are looking at a development operations solution. Not only challenges from a cost perspective, but challenges from a process perspective. How do you go about developing and creating better process agility and building better applications and streamlining your deployment and managing your teams of developers? Well, with a modern integrated solution, all this is available at your fingertips in the cloud. That's the idea.
All right, so the ideal solution here is that of an integrated DevOps solution, as I was just mentioning. You want quick startup time with easy provisioning. So with Developer Cloud Service, you'll see here in a second when I create my project that I can spin up a complete DevOps solution in less than a minute. Minimal maintenance costs. We take care of the maintenance for you. You're simply using this environment to manage your development operations and life cycle of your application, whether it be an ADF application, a pure Java solution, or so forth. You want the ability to track development activities, and if there's a defect in code, to be able to track back that creates a breakage, you want to be able to track back to what actually broke that build. Well, that's what a solution like this is going to provide you. Okay, so just to give you a quick picture of what Developer Cloud Service entails, you have source control management, issue tracking, continuous integration, and wiki collaboration. These are just some of the pieces of what goes into this. So this is what we call a development platform as a service, or PaaS for short. Managing your development operations with true team collaboration and delivery management. So with that said, what I want to do is jump on over here to the web dashboard and just show you what this actually looks like. So here in the Developer Cloud Service environment, the first thing that you do is log into your Developer Cloud Service. You authenticate. Once you authenticate, you see all the services, cloud services that you've been provisioned for. So in my case, I have a developer cloud service instance, a Java cloud service, as well as a database cloud service. And all of this is integrated together. So I can build an ADF application leveraging a database and using developer cloud service to manage the development operations of this application. I simply select this right here. This launches my developer cloud service environment. I can open the service console at this point, and boom, you have all the projects at your fingertips that you have either ownership of, you're a member of, and then of course you can come in here and create new projects. So that's what I want to do, is actually quickly create a new project. My session is timed out, so let's log in here real quick. And I'm going to create a new project. And I'm just going to call this, I'm using a Summit application, the Summit demo that you can go and download off of the ADF, Oracle ADF site. And you can actually work with this right here. So I will just call this Summit Demo 5 since I've created a few of these, give it a simple description, and leave security set to private here. So stepping on through this wizard, you can see I can base this on a template if I want to. A template already has some pre-populated code, for example, a web service or something else. In my case, I'm not going to go with the template. I'm just going to start this and select my wiki markup of choice. You can go with Textile, Confluence, Markdown, whatever your preference is. I'll just go with Markdown on this. And you can see it's rapidly speeding up this environment. I've already got build, deployment, my Maven repo, my source versioning. It's creating my ability to create code reviews, wiki support, and task management. Boom, all of this in less than a minute. I would venture to say probably 15 seconds. Here once again, we have the ability to add code, version our code. This is using Git. You can also integrate with GitHub if you want to. You have your ability to create branches and code reviews on branches and then merge those branches back into the master, build that, and so on. So I'll do that, just kind of go through the full life cycle of what this would look like using the Summit application, using JDeveloper. But the first thing that I want to do here is just quickly, let's go in here and add a member to this project so I can actually add them to a code review. And so I will add a colleague by the name of Greg Stacknick here. And I can also set Greg as owner or as a member. Right now, Greg is a member of this project. Okay, I'll leave it at this, jump over to JDeveloper. And the first thing that I want to do here in JDeveloper is initialize a new Git repository. So I do this by coming up here, selecting team. I've already actually initialized one earlier. As you can see, this is grayed out for me right here. So now what I can do is actually go and open up a project that I want to work with here. And that project is going to be my Summit ADF application. Okay, so I have a model project and a view project here. So since I've already actually initialized this, now what I can do is from my team Git here, I can add all of this. And there are no files to add at this point. So what I want to do is within my application navigator, go to versioning. Let's try it right here. All right. Oh, they're already added. Okay, my bad. So I can tell that they've already been added, and it's probably because I was working with this earlier. So these have already been added, as you can see by the indication right here. So what I want to do at this point is actually do a commit all of this. And this is already committed as well. And I am actually working in my work. Okay, so that's fine. So all of this is committed. Had this not been committed, it would allow me to commit these changes right here to my local repository. But that's already been done for me, so I'm sure you've gone through that before and you get that. So this has not been pushed up to the master yet. So let's go ahead and let's push this up. And this is just failing miserably at this point. So let's do this just to get a clean slate here. So I want to delete this application. And I apologize for this. I should have cleaned this up before I actually got started. And let's quit this. Let's jump over here. Let's get out of this. And I'll see if I can speed this up here in just a second. And I'm going to start JDeveloper up again. While that is starting, let me get this application cleaned up and copy this in here. All right, let's try this once more. So I'm going to open up the Summit application one more time. Okay, much better. So you can see that it hasn't been versioned now. So now that I got this cleaned up, let's go back to team. Looks good there. So let's try doing a initialize of this. All right, much better. So I've initialized this. I can now come back into team and my Git repo, add all of this. This is going to add it to my local repository. These are all the files that we're adding in here, all from my model project, my view controller project. And you can see I have a lot of files here, my pending changes as well, as expected. So now from the application navigator, I can actually commit all of this to my local repository. So I'm going to just go here and do this now. And I'm going to say that this is my initial commit. And I've committed all this to my local repository. Now, this hasn't been pushed to the cloud yet. So let's do that right now, and then we can go back over to the cloud view and see what this looks like. So I'm going to push all this up, step through the wizard. I need my repository URL. So if I go back over to my web dashboard, I can get the repository URL from right here. Simply copy this, paste that in, my username, and my password. And this is one and the same username and password that I use to connect to my web dashboard. And I am actually going to be pushing this up to the master branch at this point. You can see the activity of this push right here. And then by going back over to the web dashboard, I can do a refresh on this. And you can see that my initial commit has taken place. Likewise, I can go over to my code tab, have my master branch here, and all the code that I've just versioned. Well, best practices dictate that if you're going to actually start working with code as a developer, what you want to do is branch your code. So I'm going to branch and create a working branch here. And the way you do this is by simply going down to your versioning. And what you want to do now is simply check this out. I'm checking out from the master branch and creating a work branch. And as you can see, I am now working in my work branch. So let's actually make a change here, and then we can create a code review on this. So I'm going to work with the index.jsf page and just make a change to a text item here. All right, so let's just change our welcome message to welcome something like, welcome to DevOps in the cloud. So I will save this. You can see in my pending changes window here, I do have this change at this point. I can right-click on the file right here, add this to my project, and then likewise, commit this. So this is all committed locally at this point. And then last but not least, let's push this up to the cloud. And you can see here, had I had a number of branches, I could work with any of those. The one that I'm currently in is work. It makes sense to push this up here, and we will create the code review on that work branch and merge it back into the master. All right, so now stepping back over to the web dashboard, I go back to the Home tab. You will see that that code piece has been merged in there. I can actually drill into this right here, and you can see the before and after. You also have different ways of looking at this, so I can look at this in a side-by-side view as well. Entirely up to you how you work with these. Okay, so let's create a code review. So if I come over here to my merge request, what I can do is create a new request, and I will just simply call this a simple code review and give it a number. My repository is my Git repository for this project, or any repository that this code has been pushed into. Target branch is going to be master. My reviewed branch is the work. And then I can add various people that are part of my team to this project, or to this code review. So we already took a look at the commits here. I could drill into this again, different things that you can do. I can add comments here in line on this code, and it would show up right in here. If I wanted to, I can also add a comment at the upper level of this and just say, hey, code looks great. And then I can actually approve this. So before I could actually do a merge, I have to wait on Greg to respond. And since Greg is probably unaware that he's received any request to do a code review at this point, I'm going to remove Greg, refresh this, go back into it. Now you see that I can actually do a merge on this. So I'm going to say merge to master. And you can see that this has been completed. So if I go back over here to the home, this has been merged back into the master. I can take a look at the code. You can see I do have my work branch here, but what I can do is drill into my view controller, my public HTML, and let's actually take a look at this file that is in the master branch. And you can see that it has indeed been merged into the master. So in short, this is a demonstration of the development lifecycle or development operations utilizing JDeveloper with an ADF application and Oracle Developer Cloud Service. So we have about 7 minutes left. I'm going to see if I can get through this next piece here rather quickly. What I want to show you now is actually building this application. So if I go over to my Build tab, you'll see that there is a default sample Maven build. Well, what I'm going to do is create a couple of Ant build files, build XML and build property, and create a build job for that and build this in the cloud, leveraging Ant and Oracle's JDeploy. So what we have is a JDeveloper installed on the Hudson Executor, so it has access to all the features and functionality of JDeveloper, just as if you were building this locally. So let's go over to JDeveloper now. And I want to actually start from scratch here, and I'm going to clone this. So I'm going to close this. So I'm going to show you pulling code down from the cloud. So the first thing that I want to do in JDeveloper is go to Team once again, Git, and I actually want to clone this. Leave the remote name as is. I've still got my my Git repo URL here. Username, I'm not sure if it's actually cached my password correctly or not, so I'm just going to re-enter it here real quick. And I want to clone this from the master. Summit Demo 5 is what I named it, and we will finish that. Now, in order for me to actually build this in the cloud, I need to create my Ant build files. So I'll come over here to my Summit ADF application, and let's create new files from the gallery. And this is going to be the Ant and build files for this application. I'm going to just go with the default name on this. So you'll see it creates both the build XML and build properties. So let me open up this build XML and build properties real quick. Now this is all relative to my local install, right? So what I really want to be working with is the configuration and layout of JDeveloper in the cloud. And you can get this from some of the documentation that we have on Developer Cloud Service. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in. But as you can see here, it just lays out, okay, where's the JDeveloper Ant jars, deploy, OJ deploy, things of that nature in this cloud environment. And then likewise on build XML, I'm going to copy and paste this in from a file that I have. One of the crucial things here is the target of deploy, leveraging OJ deploy, and the actual application name itself. And in this case, it is the Summit demo. And that's actually, view controller right here. So my actual name for this. So whatever the name of your application is, this is something that you might have to update. Okay, so now that I have that, you can see that I have two candidates here to version. So I will select both of these. Let's make sure I save this. That's not build XML. Let's save this. Let's right select on this. Let's add all of these. And then let's commit all of these. All right, so that's all been committed. And as before, now what we need to do is push this up to the cloud environment. And this is going into the master. Okay, so we have this pushed up into the master at this point. Stepping back over to the cloud view, you can see that I have pushed this up. Going back to the build tab, let's create a new build job. And I'll just call this Summit Demo. This is going to be a freestyle job that I'm going to configure right here. JDK for this, since we are using JDeveloper 12C, ADF 12C, actually 12.1.3 is going to be JDK 7. Let's see, let's go down to source code management. One thing that I'm going to have to do here, let's save this real quick. Go back over to home. I need to get my URL for my Git repo once more. And go back into configuration of this. Source code management, select my Git repo, paste my URL in here. You can also work and build different branches here. I'm building this based on the master, but you can configure this to build on whichever branches that you see fit. If I come down to the build step here, I can select a particular, build process that I want to. I could go with Maven, 3, 2, or even Ant. In this case, I want to go with Ant. My target is deploy, as you saw in my build XML file. My build file is called build.xml, and this is case sensitive. Keep that in mind. One more thing that I can do is I can say, let's actually archive the artifacts. So if I wanted to deploy to on-premise, I want to make it easy to grab these artifacts. So if I do this, I can easily download them and deploy on-premise. One more thing that I can do here is I can automate the builds, and quite easy to do this as well. So back up here with the build triggers, I can say pull my source control management environment, or Git in this case, and anytime I see a code change, I can set it to, let's just set it to 1 minute. A code change that has been pushed into the master, even if I want to take it to that extent, then kick off another build. So that's really all I have to do to configure a job to build this. So we're out of time, but quickly I can kick this build off. What you will notice down here is that this new build has been queued up, and it will grab a Hudson executor as soon as one is available and build this. I can then deploy it, and I can set up automatic deployment if I wanted to a Java Cloud Service environment. So that's really all the demonstration is right there. Let's go back over and just kind of summarize this real quick, and if everybody can hang on for a couple minutes, we can answer a few questions here. So let's see. So in summary, what's the value prop here? Well, it's quite clear, there's an elimination of hardware acquisition, setup and installation, integrating your ALM solution or DevOps solution. It's all taken care of for you, with improved team collaboration, team management, you streamline your cloud building of your applications and deployment of your applications. And in short, you're producing better applications much cheaper and much faster. That's the idea. Lots of resources out there, and I'll provide more of these that you can actually take this presentation, and I'll have all the links here to our developer service main page where you can sign up for a trial subscription. Also the community page where we have blog posts, things like that, and you can get free help through support. So with that said.
So thank you very much, Dana. I don't hear you. Now I can hear you.
Good. Sorry.
So you have summarized. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask a question. So I have one question. Could you tell me what's coming up in the next developer version? What is planned for the future?
You're breaking up on me, right?
Did you understand my question, Dana?
I did not. You were breaking up on me. Can you ask it once more?
Yeah, I can ask it again. I can repeat it. So my question is, what's coming up in the future? What is planned for the next version or for the next upgrade of the developer cloud service?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. Well, there's a lot of things that are on the horizon, and one of the things that we're seeing customers ask for is, well, I've got SOA composites that I want to build and BPM processes and things like that. And, while it's easy enough for you to configure Maven to pull down these binaries in order to build these processes, we want to make it easier for our customers to do this. So in the next release, SOA libraries are going to be installed on the Hudson Executor such that they can build their SOA composites very, very quickly without having to spend the time of pulling, these libraries down in order to do that. So that's one of the key things. There's other things that are coming, such as Tailwind. Tailwind is our IDE in the cloud. That's coming up in a future release. I'm not sure if it's in the next release. I want to say that it is. I would have to confirm that, and I can let you know.
Okay,
that is
great.
good for Java and JavaScript and so forth. Another thing that we have is integration with some external tools, such as external integration to Jenkins. We recognize that there's customers that have an investment in Jenkins and are possibly not quite ready to move over to Hudson for their continuous integration tooling. Well, that's something that's coming about, as well as integration with Jira. We already provide webhooks to integrate with some external environments, and you can easily integrate with GitHub if you want to keep your versioning in the GitHub repos. One of the things that you can do today that you should be aware of is if you want to use this tooling for PL SQL, you can use it for that. You can continuously build your PL SQL processes as well. So there's a lot that you can do here that we haven't taken the time to talk about. So definitely recommend getting out there, looking at the developer service product page, looking at the community page, and seeing what else is available to you.
Okay, thanks. So I will wrap it up here. So thank you for your time and for your attention. And we will see you maybe in 2 months. So that would be the next session in September or mid-September. And we will place the recording to the ADF Spotlight community page and also in the ADF Spotlight YouTube channel, so you can also watch it later. And Dana would also provide the slide deck. Bye.